You did change the room, though. Like,
I didn't change the room. Did not change. It's the same fucking room. Nothing changed. I just located myself. I did a full 180 like Katy Perry. Okay, a full 180. That's it.
Different.
Shut the fuck up, Sin. Get out of this conversation.
welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Tougies Take podcast. We are back again. Same time, not same places. For
Fuck off.
another...
Shut up. Nothing has changed.
Go watch the video portion of the prior podcast and then watch this one on the video form. And you tell me, you let us know, has Endo's situation changed? Because the door...
It's the same fucking room, okay?
Yeah.
It's the same room. All I did was take my desk and put it back over here instead. A 180 degree movement. 180 degrees.
That means it's different, though, doesn't it?
Shut your mouth. I will go down there to fucking Maine. I swear to God, I'll kiss you on the mouth. I'll slap you silly, motherfucker.
So if I were to put my desk on the Jersey wall and put the Jersey wall on the wall in front of me, has my room not changed?
It is in this. Oh my God. Sid, how are you doing today?
Tired. But otherwise good.
That's good. Good to hear. You guys have been really busy over there.
It's been a lot of broadcast work over with our friends at SportsGamer, sportsgamer.gg, of course.
Yeah.
We're in the home stretch. Sin, we're in the home stretch. We have one more broadcast before going to Finland in a little under 2 weeks' time. The home stretch. Where it's, we've talked about this. We literally just did. It's bittersweet, right? It's bittersweet. You have a marathon like this. You get to the end of it, and you're just like, oh, I'm glad it's over, but I kind of miss it. But I'm glad it's over. So, that's how we're going to feel about today's podcast based off of how heated Endo is.
The room is still the same. It's the same room.
Okay, Grandma, let's get you to bed.
I remember back when no one talked shit about my 15 layouts in a 2-year span of being on the podcast. You know what? Next week I'm going to go into this room. Remember this room where we first started this shit? That's where I'm going to go. In that room. I swear to God. Bitch, I swear to God. Hockey, right?
15 different layouts, but the room hasn't changed.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh,
I like variety. I keep things interesting. You never know where I'm going to go next. It could be in the bathroom. It could be in the bathtub stream. I could be in the closet. Maybe I am in the closet. Who knows? Who cares?
Say hi to Tom Cruise for me. This podcast, as always, is brought to you by our lovely friends at Manscaped. We will talk about hockey at some point today, I promise. But of course, as always, you can go to manscaped.com. You can use code Tougie, that's Tougie, for 20% off your order and free shipping again from our friends at manscaped.com, who have a variety of top-notch offers for you when it comes to the world of grooming. And of course, whether it be their lovely new Beard Hedger and the Beard Hedger Pro Kit, the #1 tool to shave your face. Let me tell you, nothing comes close to it. Or, of course, the variety of other products that they have, including the Lawnmower 4.0. Perfect for, all-around body grooming, not just specialized to the groin. You can use that wherever the hell you want. And a variety of other products, again, from our fine friends at Manscaped. Use code Tougie at checkout. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, let's get to some viewer questions. We're not quite speed running this podcast, but the sooner it's done, the sooner Sin can take a nap. Our first question comes from RG Dust, and it is specifically for Endomills. How do you think you can evolve your no gameplay updates response to the EA NHL Twitter account?
I feel like this is like a presidential address. I'm not really sure how I can top up that joke because
you're not getting voted in off of that response.
Yeah, I'm not getting voted in at all. I mean, lesser speeches have gotten people elected, so I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe just different memes.
I think the best thing is to never change.
Yeah,
like that's the meme. You start with the meme and then you become the meme. That is the evolution. Think about G20, about in mirrored visors. Like, the man
Which,
didn't
by
change.
the way, sorry to cut you off, Alex Ovechkin was asked about that and said he was not allowed to wear mirrored visors anymore because Marty Brodeur complained about not being able to see his eyes. So as I mentioned, G20, his natural enemy, Martin Brodeur.
Yeah. Yeah, like I had AJ complaining about me, like, yo, it's fucking annoying. I'm like, well, give the people what they want. I'm not gonna stop. Like, we want gameplay updates. We want the game to be better. So I'm gonna spam the ever-loving fuck out of your replies on. You're lucky I'm only doing it on Twitter. I could move this over to Reddit and get banned in like 5 seconds. I could do this at the EA forums and get banned by the one dude who closed the. I think I talked about this. So last time when they had the patch update, before the patch was even dropped, the thread that was like, oh, give us your feedback on it was locked 3 hours before the patch dropped because people were like, what kind of fucking update is this? Like, where's the gameplay? Where's this? Where's the presentation update? Where's the line fixes for all this? Where's the new bug that the thing is like not displaying properly? And I think 3 hours before the patch dropped, one of the community managers was like, we're going to lock this post now because no one's talking about the patch. I'm like, the patch hasn't dropped yet. How are you going to lock a thread for a patch when no one's had any feedback except for where the fuck's the update?
And O'Mill's not going to change, unlike his background.
Fuck you. Really? 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 Black History Month, brother? Really? God, I've been pulling on people so much today. This month so far, it's great. Love it. Anyways,
it's your month, as you say.
It's my month, baby.
From Nighthawk, what is your favorite myth, legend, bit of folklore from your hometown? If there is one.
We won a Stanley Cup once.
Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening to another edition.
People wonder why I'm here. God. That and the ever-changing layout. The Brotherhood of the Changing Office. Oh, man.
Well, Sin, he set the bar high for us.
Dude, I don't even know. I'm trying to think back to my hometown.
Man. Legend, folklore. Like, right now, what I'm trying to envision is just, like, I'm trying to, like, imagine...
I have it now.
Yes. Oh, okay. I'm excited.
Yeah, there's this lady in, like, the late 1800s who lived up on... we had like a hill. They called it Mountain, El Toro Mountain, but it's a hill. It's a no, like it was this lady, this single woman, like single wife, a widow, like I believe that her husband died and shit, and she had like 9 kids, and just defended the fuck out of her residence from like all kinds of wild animals and shit, and like with a shotgun. It's pretty wild. Like the history of my hometown was pretty hickish. Yeah. That's the only thing I could really think of. Yeah, I don't know. I can't recall any like crazy other weird things.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think. There was one specific deal in regards to my hometown. Aside from the typical, ooh, this place is haunted type of thing, which there was a particularly spooky house that was believable. There was one known, and I had to look it up to make sure I had the name right. The legend of Andre the Seal, who was abandoned by his mother, and the harbor master found him and raised him. He would spend his winters on vacation at the Boston Aquarium, where he'd be released into the waters and he'd swim back for the summers.
What the hell?
And they'd bring him back to the aquarium and he'd swim back. and was just apparently a local legend. He passed away in the mid '80s. But shout out to Andre the Seal, who for whatever reason, was apparently very attached to
new mascot for Medium Elite.
Oh man, yeah,
Andre the Seal.
That would require EA to add in content like different mascots, given that we've had the same
ones forever.
NHL 17.
Yep. That was the big update with the Creation Zone. They had a lot of stuff in 17. Like, it's even funnier too that the recent I think the recent add-ins that they had for the logos were like from that time or something like that. Because the guy who gave out a bunch of logos for them, they had a whole bunch of them that weren't accepted by EA that were super awesome. It was like the one time that EA outsourced their work to someone and it was sick, and then never again. Never again.
NHL 17 was the same game too that had, again, 14 out of 30 teams with their proper goal song. And then by the next year, half of those songs disappeared, and the year after that, they were gone.
We peaked at 17. Usually, you know. We all peaked in high school anyway, so.
EA Sports peaked in high school. That's
a good tweet. That's a good
episode title too. Okay, so another interesting one here. From Nighthawk, or excuse me, that was the last one from Nighthawk. From Broken Wheelchair, who would you consider your team's biggest draft bust ever?
Oof. Now,
obviously, that's a lot of history to go through, clearly. And because of that, I'm going to kind of have some assistance here for you guys as much as I can. And I think primarily it'll be looking back at first round picks, right? So for the Sharks, you start off, Pat Falloon had a solid career. Mike Rathje probably takes the lead.
He was pretty good, though.
Victor Kozlov. Yeah, I was going to say, like, in comparison to, like, Mike Rathje, if he's your biggest bust, that's not that bad. Jeff Friesen was solid. 1995 for the Sharks. Teemu Riihijärvi. 0 career NHL games played.
When was he
overall.
Picked? Yeah, that's a pretty big fucking bust.
The next pick, J.S. Jaguar, Jay McKee.
What? We picked J.S. Jaguar?
No, I'm saying in the 95 draft, the next pick after Riihijärvi was Jaguar. Do you know who Jaguar was picked by, though?
Was what?
Do you know who Jaguar was picked by, though? Obviously, it would indicate that it wasn't Anaheim.
Yeah.
Wait, I think I should know this. I watched that video of the guy who made, like, Whatever Happened to videos, and he did
no idea.
I can't remember shit.
What?
Damn,
Hartford Whalers.
That's an old bitch.
There were some decent players in the first round of the 95 draft, but yeah, that's the first real miss. Andre Zuzin, Patrick Marleau, what a bust.
Damn.
Scott Hannon, Marco Sturm,
all
Brad
good, all
Stewart,
solid.
Jeff Gilson. I mean, it would probably be Jeff Gilson so far if it wasn't for Riihijärvi.
Yeah, he still played in the NHL though, but he wasn't tremendous.
Yeah. 2002, Mike Morris, 27th overall, didn't play a single game for the Sharks. Goodness. Jim Slater was taken after that. Jarrett Stoll, Tim Brent in the second round. I mean, yeah, you could.
Hard to go back into that ones because it was such a different way to draft back then too. You're looking for different players constantly. So yeah, you have to kind of almost specify era, but like the most recent bust I can think of was Mirko Mueller. Like that was just bad.
Yeah, mid to late 2000s, right? 2004 was Lucas Kaspar. Only played 16 career NHL games for the Sharks as the 22nd overall pick. Later in the first round, Andre Mazzaros, Corey Schneider, Mike Green. That was a rough one. 2006, they took Ty Wishart. Only 26 career NHL games played.
He was big as fuck, too, man. He was huge.
Nick Petrecki, 2007.
We had some misses there, but also we were drafting late because we were a goddamn beast of a team every single year. So it was always late 20s, like in that era.
Yeah, your most recent one, I mean, Mirko Mueller, Nikolai Goldobin.
Yeah, he was pretty
is
bad.
in there.
But he was taken again, kind of in the 20s. But yeah, it's hard. Because when I think, true busts for me, it's like at least taken in the top 15. Because you expect those guys to be NHLers, at least to some capacity.
Yeah. And then obviously too, I mean, you could start to argue where does Ryan Merkley end up on that list, given that he was just traded away?
Yeah, that's a pretty big one. Again, but he slid super far down the draft. Was he taken 24th or 26th?
Something like that, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So it's kind of hard to quantify what you consider busts to be. I think Mueller was taken in the teens, so that's why I would consider him a bigger bust than Merkley, because he also didn't have all kinds of question marks of like, attitude, defensive issues. He was supposed to be solid, and Sharks rushed him along, and they kind of made him into a bust too. They tried to play him way too early in the NHL.
The Leafs. Now, they have a pretty good track record dating back over the past decade in terms of first rounders. Morgan Riley, William Nylander, Marner, Matthews, Sandin. The only real miss in 2013 was Freddie Gauthier, but even then he wasn't bad. You go back to 2011. Tyler Biggs, Stuart Percy, both in the first round. Fucking oof.
Rip the Band-Aid off. Let's go.
Before that, you really, have to go pretty far back. I gotta be honest, like in Endo's lifetime, the Leafs, when they've made their first round picks, haven't been that bad. Like, I'm scrolling back to 1999 for their next big miss in the first round, 24th overall, Luka Sereda, who never played an NHL game. So
that 99 draft,
nobody
made it. Nobody had any success. Jesus.
The Leafs, are you looking at it, or can I quiz you on it?
I'm looking at it right now. We're looking at it right now.
Okay. The Leafs made 9 picks in 1999, Sin. Guess the amount of combined games played in the NHL.
56.
Lower.
Endo, you want to give him the answer?
3.
What?
Only one dude played NHL games. It was 3. Pierre Hedin, who was the 8th round pick for them.
Ow.
239th overall. Holy crap.
Once upon a time, I debated doing a video series called Worst Draft Ever, where I go through each team and talk about their worst draft ever. Endo, you willing to be on the Leafs version to talk about? We'll do some research about this 99 draft class.
Yeah, I'd love to do it. Let's fucking go.
And I was like, this ruined my life when I was in diapers.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Oh,
yeah,
man.
for the most part, through the 2000s, the Leafs weren't that bad. Into the 90s, and obviously there's fucking all the history in the world for Toronto to talk about first rounders, but
we just traded everyone away. Yeah, we just traded everyone away. A lot of good regular season success, and then just nothing for playoffs.
They didn't have that many first round picks too. You'll notice kind of in those 2000s when they still had Matt Sundin and they were going for it. They traded away a lot of firsts.
Oh, they went for it all right.
They did.
Reminder: Tuukka Rask was given to the Bruins for basically nothing because the man, the myth, the legend, Justin Tougie was the future, and he played 7 fucking games. And they're all for the Leafs, and they buried him in the minors. Jesus, God.
So now he's
still
most known for that AHL meltdown.
Yeah.
And he plays right now for Wolfsburg, the Grizzly Adams, Dell.
So that brings us to the Boston Bruins. Any guesses on the biggest bust ever for the Boston Bruins? Any idea what draft class I get to mention now?
Yeah, it's got to be 2015.
Y'all went back to back.
Is it Senyshyn or would it be Zaboral? Isn't Zaboral playing now?
Zaboral is still with the Bruins. He has 68 career games played.
Got to be.
Any
Senyshyn.
guesses on how many NHL games Zach Senyshyn has?
Like 10.
2.
16.
Ugh. What's the other guy they got in that? It was
DeBrusk.
Zaboral, Senyshyn. Oh, DeBrusk. Okay, at least he's fucking decent. But yeah, that was a...
Immediately after Zach Senyshyn, Barzal, Connor, Shabbat. Later in the round, Besser, Konechny, Beauvillier. Aside from that, 2012 first rounder, Malcolm Subban, that did not work out at all.
No, especially taking a goalie that early. That's rough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2009, 25th overall first rounder, Jordan Caron. He was a bit better than the other two that we mentioned so far, but immediately after him was Kyle Palmieri. Other guys towards the beginning of the second round. 2008, Joe Colborne. That
Not
that
even
didn't
Braden.
work. Didn't work very well. Immediately after him, Jake Gardner, Luca Spiza, Michael Delzato, Jordan Eberle.
Woo.
2008, Zach Hamill.
Yeah,
20 career games of Zach Hamill at 8th overall, selected one pick before Logan Couture.
my boy, Cooch. Playoff
And-
Cooch himself.
And Brandon Sutter, and Ryan McDonough, and Lars Zeller, and Kevin Shank.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, the Bruins, I loved him too, but 2005 was Matt Lashoff, 22nd overall. God, just, yeah, don't look back at 2000, 7th overall, 8 games of Lars Jonsson.
Jesus.
And 14 games of 27th overall, Martin Samuelsson.
Damn, you've had some misses.
Holy fuck.
It's like Sharks have gotten guys where they could have gotten some better guys, but like, yeah, we don't have that many misses.
Oh, out of the 3 of our favorite teams, I would certainly argue the Bruins have the worst track record for busts.
Yeah, that's
in
the
recent
crazy
memory, at
thing
least.
about 2015 as well. It's like even when they were making the picks, everyone's like, "What the fuck are they doing?" Like these are not good picks. I've never, oftentimes like, "Oh yeah, this guy's got potential." Like you think of like the hype level between Laine and Puljujarvi, how similar that they were supposed to kind of be, and then Puljujarvi could be argued that he's kind of a bust at this point. But yeah, for that one, they're just like, "Oof."
Oh, God. Well, it's always fun when I get to talk about it's pure trash drafting for the Boston Bruins.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I just looked at Phil Kessel. You know he's like gonna hit 1,000 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like no one's talking about that. That's pretty.
We
that's
talked
pretty
about
big.
it at some point here on the podcast. I remember that he's going to hit
Yeah.
1,000 points with the Coyotes.
Yeah, and I was going to do it with Vegas. He has 1 year
Vegas,
on his deal. He has 1 year on his deal now. I think he definitely re-signed to hit that 1,000 mark. And even looking at like his production, usually was like mostly goals. Like you know him as a goal scorer, but Jesus Christ, he had 44 assists on Arizona last year. 44. Christ. Someone had to pass someone the puck to get the puck back in there.
The
Jesus.
final question comes from Tomas. Trivia in a sense. I had to reword this basically, but what NHL game had the worst? Now it says NHL game. I'm going to restrict it to EA NHL game. Had the worst rated cover athlete. So the problem with this, right, is in terms of going back, obviously, like I'm not going to go off of ratings because I mean they changed so much. But in terms of the idea of like who was like the weakest player to end up on a cover of a game, Glenn Healy was apparently on the cover of NHL Hockey 91. NHLPA 93 had Rod Brindamore, Mike Richter, and Randy Mahler. So it might very well be Randy Mahler. 94, Thomas Sandstrom, Andy Moog. So you got those
Going
options.
way back, man. I don't even remember. Like I was too young to even know what they were at the time.
So I'm looking back through, right, and in more recent memory, at least in times for games that we'd all be experienced with, it gets difficult because the answer's probably Dion Phaneuf. Right?
Yeah.
Like NHL 09, like the answer's probably Dion Phaneuf in terms of like the least amount of star power at a given time.
Yeah, I gotta just look at what the cover athletes have been. It's easy to forget.
Yeah, here I can. I just sent you a link here in our little chat on this. But yeah, I mean, obviously, unless you were going to argue like most recent being Trevor Zegras and just like, oh, he hasn't done much yet. I mean, you could certainly argue that. But yeah, there's a lot of these covers where it's like, okay, Matthews has been on twice. Ovechkin's been on twice. PK certainly has more name value than a Dion. Obviously, McDavid, Tarasenko. I mean, that's a tough question. I mean, the answer, though, more than likely, yeah, you would have to go back to some of those early additions in terms of who was on these and ones that kind of make sense.
Yeah, Eric Stahl is an argument, but at the time he was killing it.
Right? Like, okay, so here, I'll look up Eric Stahl.
Oh, there's one. Fucking Patrice Bergeron. Plug.
On the cover of the best video game of all time.
Yeah, I think you could argue PK Subban on NHL 19. But then again, I think at the time he had a decent year.
I just checked. He was an 88 overall. It looks like the lowest is a tie between Dion Phaneuf at 86 and 09, and then Patrick Kane at 86 and 10.
So yeah, like if that was the original
star. His potential was like 5 gold star though.
Right. Like if that's the question of like who was the lowest when they were on the cover, who the fuck knows? But in a general sense, in terms of like star power for like who was the weakest cover athlete?
Actually, wait. Martin Brodeur was an 85 overall as a goalie. So does that really count or?
I mean, at the time, yeah. I mean, given he was on the cover for NHL 14.
Yeah.
But obviously, like I said, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, yeah, he was kind of on the cover at the end of his career. I wanted to look. So Dion was on the cover for NHL 09.
Yep.
So he would have been coming off of a 60-point season with Calgary, in which he was an All Star. He got Hart votes. He finished second in Norris voting that season. Behind, and I'm so glad that Hockey Reference has this, he finished second in Norris voting behind Nick Lidstrom. Which, I mean, yeah, it's fucking Nick Lidstrom. PK, when he was on the cover, which was what, 19?
19, yeah.
He was coming off of a 59-point season with the Preds. He finished third in the Norris voting. And then Eric Stahl was NHL 08. And he was coming off of a point-per-game season. So, yeah, I mean, even then, right? Like, some of those guys you might look at with hindsight, it's like, well, they were coming off of at least pretty good seasons at the time. So it would kind of lead you to think, like, Randy Mahler had to have been the worst. But, again, the ratings, if you were looking at it from that perspective, were, like Sin said, drastically different.
And also, that was at a time they didn't have, like, a cover athlete. They had, like, an action shot with multiple people in each thing. It was, it wasn't like, it hadn't got to that point of marketing yet because video games were still so new.
Right. 100% on point. With that, everybody, we'll say thank you for the questions, and we'll move on to, we got about 3 different topics to discuss today because, again, it was All-Star Weekend. Not much happened. We will talk about that at the end of the show. But 2 signings happened. Well, technically 3. Shout out to Cole Smith in Nashville, but, I mean, come on. Sonny Milano re-signed with Washington. 3 years, just under $2 million. Got 22 points in 40 games. Not bad. Good for Sonny Milano to find kind of a landing spot now at 26. Kind of blew my mind he was 26. But for the 3rd podcast in a row, let's talk about Bo Horvat, gentlemen. We can't escape him. He is omnipresent. Bo Horvat has re-signed with the New York Islanders. How quickly that story changed about, he might end up walking away and being a free agent. Like, that narrative's dead. He is there. And for a long time. 8 years, $8.5 million per season for Bo Horvat. Has 54 points in 49 games this year. This is the Islanders cap situation moving forward. James Johnson put out this tweet. In 3 years, the Islanders are going to have 30-year-old Horvat making $8 million, 35-year-old Anders Lee making $7 million, 34-year-old Brock Nelson making $6 million, 35-year-old Kyle Palmieri making $5 million, 34-year-old Pajot making $5 million, and 34-year-old Casey Cizikas making $2.5 million. Let Lou cook. That's an amazing tweet, by the way.
Yeah.
It's interesting because that's just the forward core, right? That's the signed long-term forward core. Defensively, the only other guys who will be signed heading into that season are Ryan Pulock and Adam Pelech, making a combined $11.9 million. And of course, in that time, the season before would have been the time where Ilya Sorokin would need a new contract. He's signed, by the way, to just $4 million this year and next. Bold strategy for one Lou Lamoriello, future, present, always GM of the year.
GM of the year.
It'll never end. Lou Lamoriello is 80 years old.
Why the fuck is he still working?
I was going to say, not to be rude, but how relevant is that to the conversation of the Islanders being in a pretty interesting cap situation moving forward? Not to be ageist, but...
I'll be ageist. Retire! Retire! Retire!
Quit! Sell the team! Retire! Retire!
And we're still working on putting out that highlight video, aren't we?
Yeah, it's actually rendering out right now. I'm just cutting up all things automatically, so it's super easy for me to go.
Please don't have me and Reaver screaming at each other in that.
No, I think I have that, and it just zooms in the Tougies' face.
Oh,
and they're just going at it. It just texts, "We have fun here."
For those who missed it, we played some EASHL, and it was fun. It was a very fun
night.
Didn't
lose, did we?
We lost one, and then
and we shot on them.
Oh yeah, hard.
I
didn't count that as a loss because like all those goals were trash, dude.
Oh my god,
we got 10, right? 10-1 against them in the rematch.
10.
Oh, that poor goalie. He was good. Like, as the best player on their team, and we just shat on him.
He had like 42 shots against. It was ridiculous.
Like, I love how we play, dude. We're like we're treating it like an actual NHL game, just ripping pucks on constantly.
God, I just sweated the fuck out of that.
Hell yeah.
I think I locked Polina out, so hold on. Go, continue your conversation. I'll catch up.
So the New York Islanders...
They're not ready for esports.
I don't think they're esports ready either. So basically, they're going for it, right? Like, you don't trade for Bo Horvat and then re-sign him to 8 years unless you're going for it. Again, like, bold strategy. I still say, like, if they make the playoffs, they could be that kind of stealthy team that 2-1s people and surprises people.
Yeah.
But man, like, the deconstruction of this team, if it becomes clear that it's not going to work, I mean, you're no longer talking really about the Matt Barzal, window, unless it's like the end of his window at that point, and he's just 25. So
here's the thing, though: they did just leapfrog Florida. They only have two more teams to leapfrog to get into the playoffs. Yes, those teams have games in hand, but
leapfrogging would indicate having to jump over them. I think they just stepped over the Florida.
They just avoided the corpse.
Just walked right around the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, fuck.
All right, I'm back.
God, dude, the Florida Panthers. Oh my god. I'm sorry. Like, again, we keep changing the subject about the Islanders, but Islanders fans, I feel like you're in the same boat of like, yeah, we don't know either. We just gotta hope it works.
Mm-hmm.
The Florida Panthers have a worse points percentage than Detroit, the New York Islanders, and the Buffalo Sabres. And I feel like we don't talk about that enough because it's Florida. And I say we as in hockey.
Yeah.
We're not talking about that enough because it's almost like expected that the status quo is like, oh, whatever, we shit on Florida for so long, so now they're kind of bad again, so whatever. That could be a disaster for them.
Oh, it's already a disaster. They don't have first-round picks for the next 3 years.
God, is it that many?
Yes. It's 100% that many. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are fucked. Like, they were so close to... They got there. They're like, hey, we're a playoff team now. They got shat on. They panicked and did something stupid. Yep. I'm sorry. The Tkachuk trade is still stupid. I don't care how good he is doing for him. You know who you could use on that team? Mackenzie Weegar.
It's true. However, have you considered that according to Cap Friendly 6 hours ago, their defense pairings are Gustav Forsling, Aaron Ekblad, Mark Stahl, Brandon Montour, and Josh Mahora with Radko Gudas?
Yeah, I'm really fucking excited in 2017.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Just
Jesus.
saying. Yeah, that you gave up analytical darling Mackenzie Weegar and then tried to rationalize about he turned the puck over in the playoffs. You fucked up. Yeah,
Who did he give the puck?
You did the painful mistake that the Leafs did on such a larger scale. The Leafs just went out and got some, third, fourth liners who had sandpaper. You went out and got the biggest sandpaper in the NHL. Yes, he's been having a great year, but you gave up so much, and they're in a rough spot. If they miss the playoffs again for the next, missing the playoffs 1 out of these 3 years is already really bad. If you continue to miss, you're fucked. You have nothing to show for any. Oh, yeah.
Reminder, because I had to have the knife twisted on me about 2015. To twist the knives on Panthers fans really quickly. Their first round pick this year belongs to Montreal. Ty Smilanic, a fourth, we just mentioned this trade too. Cedric Guidon was that pick. And a conditional 2023 first. That is a weird one because it's top 10 protected. And literally it says, in the event that the Panthers retain their 2022 second round pick, they'll no longer own their 2023 and decide Montreal would get their 2024. The result was that the Habs do have the 2023 pick. Okay. So yeah, Ben Sherratt for their first round pick this year.
Yep.
Next year's first round pick, Owen Tippett, a 2023 third and a 2024 first, which is conditional because, of course, for Claude Giroux, German Ruvsov, Connor Bunneman, and a fifth. Claude Giroux, who currently plays for the Ottawa Senators. And their 2025 first rounder, Huberdeau, Weegar, Cole Schwint, and the first for Matthew Tkachuk and a conditional fourth.
You blow it up!
What are the conditions on the 24th? Because it can't obviously include the 25th if they gave that up too.
All of their picks are conditional and lottery protected, and I think it just slides down further.
Right, yeah.
It's really... So yeah, the conditions on the 2025 first that Florida sent to Calgary is a lottery pick, resulting in Calgary receiving the 2026 first instead. So yeah, basically, just they might not even have their 2026 first rounder at this rate.
Ugh.
But the New York Islanders, though. The San Jose Sharks made another trade. This time, sending defenseman Jacob Megna to the Seattle Kraken for a fourth-round pick this year. Megna signed $800K for this year and next. Was playing a lot with Erik Karlsson, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and they were taking their daughters to ballet together. It was fucking cute. And Melinda Carlson's real sad.
Now I'm sad.
It was so fucking cute, man. They were doing ballet with their daughters too. It was adorable.
I don't get this trade.
We like building up players and then trading them. We're the Oakland A's.
Good locker room.
Speaking of.
Yeah, Jesus.
Cole got traded to Baltimore.
He did.
Man. Yeah. We play the games more often. Anyways, continue.
Right. I don't get this trade for the sole purpose of why now? Seemed like a good locker room guy, playing really strong defensive hockey.
Mm-hmm.
1 year left on his deal at $800K.
Middleton
why
all over
now?
Again. It's Middleton all over again. It's DeMello all over again, although DeMello was involved in the Karlsson trade. But yeah, it's Middleton all over again. I don't know why the Sharks are doing this. And you're making a good point. Why now? He's not a guy to unload to tank.
If you're gonna do it next year, you would think. If your thought process is, well, when his contract's up, we're gonna have to sign him to $2-3 million, and we don't want to do that, and he'll be 31 at the time. Trade him next year, where his value might be even higher, unless you think this is his peak, and his peak is a fourth rounder. And like you said, like is he affecting the team in such a positive light that it's worth getting rid of him now?
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. And I don't know if Seattle really wants a defender, squeeze a third out of him at least for what Magna's been doing, the ice time he's been getting, as solid as he's been playing. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't been blown away by Greer's moves quite yet.
Yeah, and I mean, to kind of talk about that, I was going to say I wanted to bring up his trade history. I think NHL Trade Tracker is fully updated. It is not. Well, shiz. Well, hey, what are you going to do? In fairness, I could look it up, but yeah, in a general sense, I think I tend to agree with you. Okay, never mind. Cap Friendly does have it. So holy shit. He has made so many trades so far. He's been in charge for 7 months. Here are his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 trades in 7 months.
I mean, he's active. Like, he's active at least, and that's what you need out of this situation.
So it was dropping back in the first round as Arizona traded up to get Connor Geekie. You guys ended up with Philip Beestead, Cameron Lund, 34th, and Matthias Havlid, 45th. Luke Kunin for John Leonard in
Philip
a third.
Beesteed. Bring back the Beesteed.
5th round pick swap, 7th round pick swap, Brent Burns to Carolina, Aiden Hill to Vegas, Jasper Weatherby to Detroit, the Merkley trade a couple weeks ago, and now this. It's interesting. He's definitely shuffling the chairs.
Yeah, still unhappy about Jasper.
Yeah.
But the more I understood what he was doing, he's just trying to make the AHL team better and let them have, more playoff shot. So I get it from that sense. Maybe Jasper doesn't make it, but still, I feel like you could have got at least a pick back with that fucking career 31-year-old AHLer.
Yeah.
But Yzerman went laser eyes again, so.
That's what he does. I don't pay attention to the AHL at all anymore.
I do now because the Sharks' future is right there, dude. Eklund, Bordeleau, fuck yeah.
I talked about it before. How before COVID hit, Pauline and I were talking about getting like tickets for AHL games and all that stuff like that. Getting like full on like box seats to go watch it, just to watch the development of the game. And unfortunately,
Tougie's making a weird face. Yeah. I don't understand why. Sorry.
You mentioned to make the Sharks better, or the Barracuda better. They are currently 27th out of 32 teams.
Oh, I know. It again, like, it's not great. Like, that was the rationale that I heard. That was the only rationale I could think of.
I thought it was looking at me because I said I was going COVID and thought I was going to make it so a really, really dark spiral. But like, yeah, we're looking at getting box seats next time. So if you guys ever come to Toronto, just we'll just go down because it's super cheap. Like if you compare the prices for like regular season box seats compared to like NHL and AHL, obviously it's a big market and everything, and Toronto's crazy. I'm surprised how affordable it is for like glass seats or box seats for minor league hockey. For the amount it would cost you to get one seat and a glass seat, you could get like a season pass glass seats for an AHL game. So like the price of one NHL game to attend is basically like a season pass for an AHL game, which is insane in comparison because of how high quality the team is and has been.
Yeah, I mean the Marlies are first in the North Division, one of 5 AHL teams with over a 700-point percentage, along with the Providence Bruins. By the way, the Coachella Valley Firebirds are dominating the AHL right now. So shout out to Seattle.
Fuck is up, Coachella?
The worst team in the AHL, the San Diego Gulls. Anaheim, you might be fucked. The NHL team's this bad. The AHL team is easily the worst in the AHL. They are the only team to have under a 300 points percentage. They're at .261. And there's only one other team to have under a 400, and that's Henderson, also in their division. They are absurdly terrible.
To note, Henderson Silver Knights are the affiliate of the Vegas Golden Knights, who have gone all in 24/7. So it's expected that their AHL team is going to be abysmal because Vegas High Rollers. Am I right?
There you go.
And Vegas, now let me check where they are on the standings. They've been sliding recently. I hope they continue to slide.
House always wins, right?
It would be funny.
That it would be.
Yeah, dude, they're down to third now. They were in first, remember? Oh, they're only behind by like 2 points or 1 point and stuff, but also Edmonton's catching up.
It's a close race in the Pacific.
Colorado has 3 games in hand and is 5 points behind. Oh, please knock Vegas out. Knock Vegas out.
Man, crazy how things are with the. Here's how you can tell how good a team is based on their AHL improvement or improvement. Like the Penguins used to be good. Now Wilkes-Barre sits in dead last in the Atlantic, and like their ECHL team is not doing any better whatsoever. Crazy.
To end this podcast on a low note, let's talk about the All Star Weekend. The fun stops here. It's NHL All Star Weekend. I didn't watch much of the game itself, but I did watch a good amount of the skills. What a horrible television product.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible. The pacing is horrific.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrific. The downtime between games, showing like the first round, we'll come back for the second round later. Like, just, it's bad. Highlighted by the whole splash shot event, which was
They needed Chris Smoove, man. They're in Florida. Why didn't they fucking get Chris Smoove?
Shut up.
Just have him sitting there with a microphone every time they hit it. Splash!
Shit, just the him with the video, him in the shower. Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, God, you reaching, I'm teaching.
If you sag off, your swag's off.
Splash!
Oh my God.
I'm gonna one day when he use that in an esports call, just someone just dunks it on someone. He dunks it. Splash!
I love him so much. I just looked. One of his splash the like button.
Yeah. I mean, he's brilliant branding.
Oh yeah.
Very much so. He's still as consistent as ever with his uploads. He's currently playing through Hogwarts Legacy on YouTube.
Oh,
that's the one person who I'll watch play Hogwarts Legacy is Chris.
Yeah, I know, man. Like, I want to play that game, but I have to wait to get it till I'm back from Finland because I know I'm just gonna disappear into it. And I also don't want to watch anyone play it.
Dude, he doesn't even really upload NBA anymore. He uploads NBA highlights and then he played through Forspoken.
He was doing 2K. But he was ripping on career mode. Like
once a week.
It made you do skateboarding quests and stuff like that. Like, it was awful. You had to do rap battles and then they would lock your next game until you did some of those city quests.
I remember seeing his video talking about that. Oh my God.
Horrible.
Absolutely brutal. Much like the NHL skills comp. Splash shot. Literally, it was like, okay, one person on the left, one person on the right. There are surfboard targets. You have to hit the surfboards to make them fall and then shoot the target to dunk your opponent's partner. But they went one at a time. So the person in the first tank always got dunked. Mm-hmm. And then the people in the second position were shooting at surfboards that were malfunctioning and would not fall. The NHL, ladies and gentlemen. So dumb. Yep. You had pitch and puck, which was golf, basically, hockey golf, where the winner, Nick Suzuki, won free Chipotle for a year. Chipotle is not available in Montreal.
You know where it is available? Toronto.
There you go.
Trade Inc.
And guess where they're going next year? Toronto. So they'll be able to use the Chipotle next year.
Unless it expires. He'll have to load up.
Oh, man. They should make him a franchise owner just for that.
Nick Suzuki's
That'd be great
Chipotle.
money. that'd be great money to be like Shaq and be a franchise owner for a Chipotle in like Montreal and just kind of just get the royalties off of that. It would work.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, hire me.
There was the Tendy tandem, which sucked. It's like, hey, basically, can you watch a goalie score a goal? That'll be fun. It wasn't. Andre.
Oh man.
Andrei Svechnikov won fastest skater. The wrong Svechnikov, as we call him. Elias Pettersson won hardest shot at 103.2.
Surprising.
Yeah, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he God, who finished second in that one? I forget, because who gives a fuck?
Kevin Hayes.
Was it Kevin Hayes?
I don't know. I think it was.
It's, so Pettersson, like, I'm not surprised people mention kind of like, just his kind of mechanics in terms of shooting. Hardest shot for me, maybe it's because we were spoiled. I don't want to see Elias Pettersson in the hardest shot. We were spoiled by Zdeno Chara and Shea Weber, boy. Fucking hitting on
Shea Weber, let me tell you.
We were fucking spoiled by those guys. Just fucking cranking these shots. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but
who was it that one year that upset everyone? Was it Mazzaros? Methot?
So I'm actually looking at the winners, right? Zdeno Chara won the event from 2007 to 2012. Shooting anywhere from 100 miles an hour to capping out at 108.8 in 2012.
So sick, dude.
Yeah.
There was then a 3-year break. In 2015, Shea Weber hit 108.5. The next year was 108.1. And then 102.8 to win it consecutively. Then you had Ovi win it in 2018 at 101. John Carlson at 102. And then Shea Weber came back in 2020 to hit 106.5. And then Hedman and Pettersson are the last two winners, both at 103.2. I don't know. There was just something about this where I'm just like, I want to see a giant on skates. Like, my fucking brain went full Joe Rogan. It's like, no offense to Elias Pettersson. It's not like he's a small guy at 6'2", but I want to see these fucking 6'8" gargantuan dudes who would have been fucking warriors on the battlefield, clubbing people to death. I want to see them shoot a hockey puck as hard as they fucking can. Is that so wrong? Like, fuck. Anyway.
Jamie, pull up that clip of that guy getting beaten to death.
Oh, fuck. And then fastest skater. It's like,
have
cool,
you ever
we're in
taken
the
a
era...
slap shot on DMT?
Can I put DMT Slapshot as the episode title? Find out. It's in competition with EA Peaked in High School and Madame Zeroni. Oh, God. Yeah, like I said, hardest shot, fastest skater. I don't know. It just doesn't appeal to me as much anymore. Like, fastest skater, it seems like we've kind of peaked at just how fast somebody can go.
Dylan Larkin cheated.
Yeah. Like 13.1 is the fastest someone's ever gone in fastest skater. It's like, and I don't know how someone will be able to top it, essentially. And maybe we're at that same point for hardest shot. I don't know. Brock Nelson won the accuracy competition, which was boring and terrible until Connor McDavid stepped up and embarrassed everyone by going 4 for 4 in the first round, only to then lose because the tournament's weird. Like, he lost to Kadri in round 2, and then Nelson beat Kadri, so cool. There was the breakaway challenge, which was incredibly cringe, won by Ovi Jr., even though his name is Sergey, he's not a junior. And Sidney Crosby, who were all teaming together. The highlight of this was Kirill Kaprizov looking bored out of his fucking mind essentially babysitting for the night. The funniest part of this was the Florida Panthers being put on blast by the Capitals Twitter account saying, try not to draft Sergei early like they did with Alex. For those who don't know that story, the Florida Panthers did try to draft Alex Ovechkin a year early and were rejected, I believe, twice. Like, it was twice at the draft that they tried in 2003 to take Ovi in round 7 and were denied twice.
That's bizarre. What the fuck?
Third time's a charm, right? Jesus.
Yeah, so according to a 2003 article in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Florida general manager Rick Dudley attempted in 4 different rounds to draft Ovechkin, arguing that if leap year dates were taken out of the equation, Ovechkin would actually turn 18 4 days before his recognized birthday, and thus would be eligible for the 2003 drafts.
What the hell?
Imagine a GM this past year arguing, no, we're allowed to take Connor Bedard right now. Thank you. Leap years. Fucking
that's such a big dick move, though. Like, at the same time, you're just like...
And that GM was Michael Scott.
That's some Henry VIII shit right there. I'm the fucking Pope now. Ha ha ha.
Never thought we'd get a Henry VIII reference on this podcast.
Right.
Jesus.
It's more of a Robin Williams reference into his stand-up, but yeah.
Now, again, the skills competition sucked. Mark Mathot called it cringe on Twitter. He wasn't wrong. Trevor Zegras posted the yawning emoji on Twitter. And a lot of the defense for there was, it's for the kids. It's supposed to be fun and for the kids. In that breakaway challenge that sucked, Mitch Marner did a skit that was based on Miami Vice.
For the kids!
Miami Vice. Original air date, September 16th, 1984. That's Hawaii 5-0.
Fuck!
Just how much you know fucking Hawaii 5-0.
Retire!
Oh my
That's
god.
proof, see?
See, I'm afraid we're gonna have to play Ishul again, but it won't be as good as last time.
We'll just play Volta. We'll play Volta instead.
Oh, fine.
I told Sin about the magic of Volta on FIFA.
Oh my god.
That's still anyone who doesn't me getting FIFA.
I think fuck it, I'll find a way to get
it's on Game Pass right now. Through the EA Vault.
Pass, I'm sure. It's basically Mario Party FIFA. There are mini games like dodgeball where you just kick the ball at each other's heads as hard as you fucking can.
You're fucking flying. Oh my god, it's so good.
Foursquare, it's awesome. Final air date for Miami Vice, by the way, was January of 1990. For the kids. Oof. David Pasternak, while hilarious and annoying as PK Subban's like, okay, Happy, let's go, Happy, because he was Happy Gilmore, you see. David Pasternak with an homage to Happy Gilmore. Endo, when is your birthday? When were you born?
May 13th, 1998.
4 years before he was born.
2. Happy Gilmore came out February of 96. Or the kids.
Like, I was a kid then. I wasn't allowed to watch it till I was older.
I was a week away from turning 2. For fuck's sake. Like, man. In the All-Star game itself, there was a reviewed and called off goal in the All-Star game.
Second time this has happened, by the way.
A 3-on-3 tournament. Which was run by The Atlantic, by the way, so that's cool, I guess. Dude, 3-on-3 hockey with players at 15% of their abilities. Fucking sucks.
You know what you should do? If you're gonna do that shit, have it be a celebrity guest. Like, if you're gonna do this shit in LA, you bring out fucking Ron Burgundy. You do something like that. We go back to Toronto, make it, I don't know, Justin Bieber, or like, I don't know, someone. Make it Drake. Drake's gonna be at the 2024 All-Star game. And he's gonna
They should, I don't know, they should be playing for something. Like,
Right. Like, oh, you're
yeah.
playing for money in a car. Like, yeah, that's going to get these fucking millionaires out of bed.
A Honda Civic. You're playing for a Honda Civic. Powered by Honda. Go fuck yourself.
Oh my god.
It's
Like,
a fucking Bugatti. Like,
the only
Christ.
time that this was amazing was when John Scott was in the All Star because he was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna get this
Right.
car and this cash prize."
I
Like,
need that
exactly.
Honda Civic. I need that.
Like
To
that
your
was
idea.
the last time the All Star game was actually exciting, and it felt like the players actually tried a little bit. Maybe the year after that a little bit too, with McDavid is in there, but the guys don't try now. Like,
Hear me
it's
out.
crazy. I honestly, I remember watching the one with John Scott, and kind of people were actually fired up and kind of trying to score and trying to win.
It's John Scott.
I could be wrong, but I want to go back, watch those games, watch them, compare them to today, and I bet it's a vast visual difference.
Oh, completely.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
They haven't really changed up the formula in the way that would make innovation happen. For example, I watched the AHL All Star game, and their All Star game was really fucking simple. And the one thing that they did that the NHL didn't do is part of the glass was taken off so that way you could be more interactive with the fans. So like you'd have like the regular glass on there, right? I think in the long stretch of the ice, like the middle boards, all that was off. It was like off, but at the ends where the goaltenders were, the glass was still there.
What's you
What?
laughing at?
Little Timmy thing that slapped out of the fucking teeth.
Oh, I can imagine. It's like a kid wearing 3D glasses. It's like it looks like it's coming right at me.
Oh, it's coming right at you.
You jackass.
Oh my god.
Oh man, but like they had very simple stuff. They had like a very very simplistic relay race where it was all right, just skate, go through the pylons, whatever, go on the other side without the puck, like skate all the way up with the puck, skate all the way to the end, and grab it and go through a relay and you pass it to the guy on your team, like stuff like that. Then they had the simple one with the goal, which was like fastest saves, and then like Joe Wall won that by like stopping like 8 out of 10 shots in like 10 seconds or something like that. It was like, keep it very simple. You don't have to do these elaborate things with skits or different interpretive dances and all that, because it just, I know the whole point is like, oh, show them with personality and all that, but in the same breath, they don't have any. Their ideas aren't working too well. I think what is his name? Dan O'Toole, former TSN great, had an idea, was like, why don't you just team up with Nickelodeon? Have have that like a Nickelodeon All Star game. Have a bunch of slime and all that. Just have around and have fun with it. Let the pros who know how to like do stuff with kids and know how to interact with that youth demographic do their thing. Keep it interactive and have like work together kind of thing. It just seems like every year the NHL All Star game is kind of like thrown together haphazardly in the last 5 minutes. It's like, all right, here's our budget. Where do you want to waste it on now? Like, I don't get it.
If you can't find a way to make the players play competitively, which is going to be more difficult because people don't want to risk injury, you need to find a way to make it more fun. You cannot do this again of just these players going out at 15% and barely fucking trying. It's horrific television. Final thing I wanted to mention, Sidney Crosby was quoted in essentially saying he's all for a change in playoff format, going back to 1 through 8 as opposed to this weird wild card setup. Not exactly breaking news. That's how most of us feel. But it's interesting. I agree with the takes that I've seen. That it's like, hey, look, Sidney Crosby's not being apolitical about something. And in terms of hockey, like, you know, whenever star players in the NHL are asked, like, hey, do you think the league should change something? It's always, well, you know, maybe not. Sidney Crosby outright being like, yeah, no, this playoff format's kind of jank is kind of nice. You know, I'm looking at the playoffs right now, and the matchups that we would have in the East, if we go off the current format, it would be Boston, Pittsburgh, Carolina, Washington, New Jersey, and the Rangers, Leafs, Lightning. If we look off of conference, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It would be Boston, Washington, Carolina, Pittsburgh, New Jersey, and the New York Rangers, Tampa, Toronto. actually. So subtle changes. So maybe this season it doesn't quite apply. But certainly last season, it would have been a pretty big factor. I'm quite sure the Leafs would have avoided the Tampa. Actually, they still might not have avoided the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Fuck.
Well, Sid's got a point, but at the same time, maybe it's not all that different.
That's the thing that I'm saying. It's like every time when Toronto takes the lead on whining about it, they would be in the same situation playing Tampa in the first fucking round anyway.
Yep. It's Tampa. It's either Tampa or Boston or some other team that's going to beat us in 6. It's like, all right.
And the only reason Toronto started whining about it is because they kept getting fucking their butts blasted in the first round by whoever they went up against. And, I just told, I'm like, shut up. Here's the thing. The other reason kind of against it, you have to play all those teams anyway. If you want to make it to the very end, the goal is not to get out of the first round. That's a shit goal.
That's
the
our
goal
goal.
is to make the Stanley Cup. You have to beat all those teams anyway. Better for ratings if you went back to 1-8, maybe. But at the same time, sometimes you want to watch that incredible first round like I did versus Tampa and Toronto. That was one of the best series that I've ever watched. And again, I don't think that matchup would have been different in the 1-8 format last year, would it?
No, from what I
It
just
was the
looked
exact
at.
same.
So shut the
Exact
fuck up.
same.
Yeah.
All you Toronto fans, I'm going to dip my tea bag into your cup.
Sin, it's a shame. If only there was a Canadian division, then maybe then the Leafs could make it out of the first round.
It was 3-1.
With that, everybody, thank you for listening and watching this episode of the Tougies Take podcast. Let us know you'll know what episode title I chose, but which one do you think it should have been? 4 options: Madam Zeroni, EA Peaked in High School, DMT Slapshot, or Blasted Butts. Toronto's Blasted Butts.
Their butts blasted.
Oh, God. Gentlemen, this was good. This was a fun one. We didn't plan on going over an hour because we didn't think we had that much to talk about, but here we are. Again, we've had a good run of shows lately, and hopefully, again, for those of you that watch and support the show, you have enjoyed. Again, we are coming up on a bit of a break. I think we have 3 shows left before Sin and I, have to take a little bit of time off, so we'll continue to update that as we get closer to the day. In the meantime, Endo Mills Home Renovator, what do you got going on?
Shut your mouth.
I'm gonna change my room up again.
I'm gonna put my desk on the ceiling. I'm gonna tape myself to the ceiling. My old setup was trash. I was gonna proposition an idea for the All Star game is that the winning team or the winning division each get a single point going towards their team. Boost up the stat. You have actual standings to go for. Like you get a point.
That would create so much hatred, I think.
Don Cherry would explode.
This isn't hockey. You're playing 3-on-3. These games don't matter. Let me finish, Ron.
Hold on, you're going a little too far there today. Hey, fuck you, fucking Pinko and Vice.
Shutting down.
I'm playing more Hi-Fi Rush. I'm probably going to stream it. I'm in the... there are some secret areas that are like for the new game plus. I unlocked them. There's another secret area I have to go through as well, so I might stream it. That game is very addictive. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna play that game. Oh, it's 5 a.m. Oh shit, I should go to bed. 3 more hours later, I'm still playing it. The difficulty peaks up a lot when you're playing the new game plus stuff. As extra content. It's basically they're sequel baiting, but it's so good.
Sam, what do you got going on?
Oh, yeah. I'm still doing my Draft the Glory series on YouTube. Now that we don't have as many casts coming up, I'll be able to pump that out and finish that series before we head off to Finland. Yeah, that's really what I'm waiting on and looking forward to, is getting back to the happiest place on earth.
There you go.
Seeing my peeps over there.
There it is. And of course, I am still grinding out the roster editing stuff, paying attention to the Beanpot tournaments. It's an NCAA tournament, kind of New England based, in which Marek Hayduk scored the first goal of the tournament. Milan Hayduk's 19-year-old son I am just it's you know that gif of just like the instant age.
Yep.
just
that-
looking down at the grave.
I was like, oh my god, is that his kid at this point? And I'm just like, oh, all right.
Yeah. Milan Hajduk had twin sons who were both 19 and playing college hockey. Actually, one's in college hockey, one's in the BCHL. But holy fuck. With that, now that some of you also feel as old as we do, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Shout out to our friends at Manscaped, and we will see you all later this week, where Endo has a different room set up. Again.
You know, just in spite, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have a mattress on the wall. I'm gonna have like a new desk, and I'm gonna like move to Kentucky. There's gonna be cattle behind me as well too.